Hello, my name is Laura, and this is the 16th episode of my knitting podcast. Today I have one finished object, I have two works in progress, and two acquisitions to share with you. So, getting right into it, my first and only finished object is what I'm wearing, and this is Cardigan number 10 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I knit this using Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Poppy Blue. And to also just share how much this project cost, I used 8 balls of the heavy merino to finish this. However, I do think I'm going to go back and change something. I'll get into that in a minute, so I might end up using 9 balls of yarn. But leaving it as is, 8 balls of yarn at about $7.30 each. That came out to $73. But this also has beautiful, beautiful buttons from Pigeon Wishes. And I'll actually just go ahead and show you what those look like. So here are the buttons. These are the two that I didn't use from the pack of 6, but these were about $15 for a pack of 6. So really this cardigan came out to about $88. And for probably my favorite knitted piece that I have ever made, that is incredible. However, I do feel like this is like the thing with knitting that everyone says is like their most recently finished object is their favorite thing they've ever made. And I fell for that with this one. So, but I also can just already see how much use I'm gonna get out of this, and it might be actually true this time, but I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, this is my cardigan number 10, and I am in love with it. So, first of all, talking about the yarn, as I mentioned, this is heavy merino from Knitting for Olive, and this color is just so beautiful. I originally started using this yarn to make a sweater number 23 by My Favorite Things Knitwear, and it just wasn't coming out exactly how I envisioned, and I wasn't super excited to work on it. And so when I saw this cardigan from My Favorite Things Knitwear, I immediately knew that that's what this yarn was actually supposed to be for. So I ripped that out, cast this on, and I could not be happier with it. The Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino is probably my favorite yarn, just as far as it feels very versatile. I mean, I knit mine on 5mm needles. I think the yarn recommends 4.5, but I'm just a tight knitter to begin with. So going up to 5mm needles, I feel like you could do a lot with that. Like a lot of patterns fall in that kind of worsted range. And so for me, this yarn is super versatile, and I don't find this itchy at all. It is a merino wool, and if you have used Knitting for Olive's regular merino, I have some right here. My whole stack's gonna fall down. I have some right here. This is certainly softer. Well, look at that, actually, I have another one of these too. This is certainly softer than the heavy merino, just touching it. However, I just feel like the heavy merino is just gonna hold up so well. Not saying that this won't, but this feels just like a little bit crunchy and just a little bit like it can stand the wear and tear. And I've only worn this like a few times just around the house because it is the dead of summer in Tennessee. So I haven't been able to wear this a lot yet, but it's not pilled in those few initial wears just around the house, and I can tell this is really gonna stand the test of time, and I'm in love with it. Also, I picked out this color. Well, this was a Christmas gift from my husband from 2024, but I picked out the color, and it just brought me so much joy every time I went to go pick this up to knit on it. It just like the color was just so inspiring, and I was just happy to work on it. And honestly, the same thing. Every time I put this on, I don't know, I get like happy. It's so fun and bright, and certainly not a neutral, but I feel like anything can be a neutral if you just embrace it and wear it. I honestly made this to be my like work sweater where I wear this in the office, and so I don't know, I feel like it can be a neutral if you just throw it over anything you're wearing. I mostly wear blue jeans and a polo because I'm on a construction site right now, so it can be pretty neutral. Like it goes with all of my like company polos that I own. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say on the yarn. It's amazing, it's incredible, and I might have some more heavy merino to share with you very soon. So that is it on the yarn. For the actual pattern, as I mentioned, this pattern is by My Favorite Things Knitwear, And the overall construction is a contiguous shoulder, I believe, but how it's basically constructed is you do start with the back panel and you knit the entire upper back panel, which also, by the way, it has this like gorgeous increase detail. Everywhere there's increases, she does these like, I think it's slip stitches. I don't remember, it's been a minute, but it's like all along the front here too. It's like slip stitches where it makes this like really cool effect. My dog just flopped on the door. But so you start with the whole back panel, the upper back panel, you knit that, and then I think you like start by picking up stitches, knitting a little bit, and then you somehow like pick up some more stitches here, and then after a certain point, like the whole upper part of the yoke is worked all together. So you're not knitting, like at some point in the yoke, you're knitting the back, the upper part of the sleeves, and the upper part of the front all at the same time. And so I'm pretty sure that is called a contiguous method, and that is kind of what the shoulder looks like. This looked really rough before blocking. I'm not even gonna lie, I was a little worried, but I think it really smoothed out and the shoulders they look really good. So I did make one modification to this cardigan, and that is the sleeves. The pattern says to basically knit straight sleeves for a minute, I believe, and then do like a couple increases so it kind of bells out just a little bit at the end. But I decided that in order to make this a little more, I don't know, functional in my real life, I did decide to slightly taper out the sleeves. It's not much. I think I did I write it down? Yeah, I did 5 decrease rounds throughout the sleeves. So I think that was every, I don't know if I can count really quick. I feel like that was every like 14 rounds or something for my gauge, but about 5 decrease rounds on either sleeve instead of increasing at the end. And I really, really love the way that it fits. It just feels like just complete. It feels perfect. I love it. I love this cardigan. And I did actually make one more modification, and that was the ribbing that I chose to do. So the pattern says to do half fisherman's rib, something like that. I tried it, and maybe it's because I didn't have the correct needle size. She said to go down to like an insanely small needle, and I just don't have that. And I started the half fisherman's rib with whatever smallest needles I had. It was looking real rough. So then I ripped that back. I tried half twisted rib. I thought it looked like out of place in the cardigan. So I ripped that back. And then I finally settled on just regular 1x1 ribbing on 3.75 millimeter needles. And I really loved the way it came out. I think it matches the overall aesthetic of the sweater and the body is the same. So then that leads me into the one thing that I'm a little bit not happy with as far as my choice that I made, and that's the button band. She says to use 4 millimeter needles on the button band, and I think I did start with that, but it was looking pretty sloppy and I wasn't super happy with how it was turning out. And so I did 3.75 millimeter needles for my button band, and almost immediately I could tell it looked better. Like, I think this looks really neat, but it is super narrow. Like, it is a lot more narrow than I was going for. And so I bought these buttons before I even started the button band because I knew it would take a minute to come in. And these are 25 millimeter buttons. And they're just like a little bit bigger than the actual button band part of this. And so I went ahead and finished it. I was like, I want to have a finished object to wear for now. But I do think if I get a wild hair one day, I'm going to rip out the entire button band and reknit it. I am pretty sure I'm going to go back up to the 4 millimeter needles that she recommends. And or I don't know, I might even add a couple more stitches on the button band to for sure make it wider, because I feel like my cardigan and how it turned out does feel like pretty oversized and just relaxed, and I think that a larger button band would complement that even more. So I do think that's a modification that I'm going to make at some point in the future. Right now I am not that worried about it, but we'll see. I know button bands are not my favorite thing in the world to knit, so I'll have to be really dedicated to it in order to make that change. So overall, I am so happy with this cardigan, and yeah, I have really only good things to say. The only poor choices were my own. So this is my cardigan number 10 by My Favorite Things Knitwear. Moving into my works in progress, these are the same sweater in the same yarn, but in different colors. I am making me and my best friend matching cloud sweaters by PetiteKnit, and honestly, I'm super stoked with how they're turning out. So let me show you mine to begin with. I am knitting this in Lucky Tweed, which is a 100% merino wool yarn, and I'm knitting mine in the color 502 Raisin. And this is what I have done so far. I really hope it doesn't wash out, but I have the entire yoke done. I am starting on the body, and I went ahead and made one sleeve. Now, the reason I started with mine is because, as I mentioned, I'm making one of these for me and my best friend, and having never made this pattern before, I just wanted to make sure I liked it, and I didn't want to make any changes before I cast on hers. And I'm actually so glad that I did that, because I changed the neckline, I wouldn't say significantly, but I definitely changed it from what the pattern says. So this pattern is your basic drop shoulder sweater. You start with the back panel, you knit the upper back, then you pick up stitches to do the either front, and then you connect, knit flat for a minute, and then you join in the round. However, I started knitting the neckline how PetiteKnit says to do it, and she said to do like, I don't know, like 2 German short rows or something like ridiculous. It was so few that I was like, are you sure? Like, did I miss something here? And so originally what the pattern wants you to do is knit just like 1 or 2, I'm probably being dramatic, but like a small number of German short rows, and then you cast on a bunch at the neck, and then you do the rest of your German short rows like the whole front together, if that makes sense. And for me personally, I was really worried about that sitting super close to my neck, because basically what it would have been is just like a little rectangle opening instead of more of a round opening. And so I saw that, and also knowing my best friend, I know she would not appreciate that. And so I started with mine by making the modification of where she wants you to do all of the short rows as like one front piece. I did that on each side. So let's say you're supposed to do like 10 short rows across the shoulder. I did 10 on this side, 10 on this side, and then just cast on fewer stitches at the front, because you are increasing on the neckline as you go. And so overall, I had the same number of stitches that you're supposed to end with, but for me, that just meant that I had to cast on fewer at the front. And I am so happy that I made that change, because this is very comfortable, and so I cannot even imagine what it would have been without making that change. So I did that on mine and got a little carried away and knitted an entire sleeve, and then I realized that my friend's birthday is this month now. It's the middle of August, and I was like, wow, I really need to cast on her sweater so that I can actually finish this in time for her birthday, because she lives out of town, so she's coming in for her birthday, and I wanted to be able to give it to her then. So this is her sweater. This is the same yarn. This is Lucky Tweed in the color 250 Rust. And for hers, I now have the entire body done, and all I have left to do are the sleeves. And I did make hers in one size smaller, but I did the same modification to the neckline. So the amount of short rows was a little bit different because the sizes were different, but the overall gist of the modification is the same. So this is her sweater and how it's coming out, and it is so pretty. I want to give a shout out to this gorgeous tweed yarn. Let me show you my sweater again. So this is the color Raisin, and I really hope you can see this. It is this just stunning purple, oh there it goes, this stunning purple yarn with flecks of like pink and blue and green all throughout it, and light purple, and it is just so beautiful. I hope you can see that a little bit. And then for hers, I let her pick out the color, but I didn't like tell her what the sweater was going to be. And hers is this gorgeous orange. I don't know if I can see that. This gorgeous orange that's got flecks of, what's in it? Yellow, red, white, and yeah, like lighter orange or darker orange. So it's just so beautiful. I am in love with this tweed, and I kind of want to make another tweed sweater just because of how much I'm enjoying this yarn, but I need to calm down. I have a lot of knitting plans, and I don't know if I need to throw another one in right now, but I am absolutely loving working with this yarn. The one thing I will say is I'm knitting both of these on 5mm needles. The pattern says to use 4.5, but I'm a tight knitter, so I went ahead and went up. I hit gauge with both. However, I would say that the purple yarn is slightly thicker than this orange yarn, and I guess that's just the nature of the manufacturing. I don't know, something to do with the color. So I did find that a little bit interesting. So I am knitting hers in a size smaller. I tried this on and it still fits me, but she is just like has like a slightly smaller frame than me. So I am confident that this is still gonna fit her and be like just slouchy enough like it's supposed to be. But I did find that interesting, and I was a little worried at first that because I was going down a size and the yarn was thinner, that it would be too small, but it's turning out great. I really like how this is fitting. So these are both of my cloud sweaters by PetiteKnit. And one other thing is I, on my sweater, cast off the neckband with my 5mm needles that I was knitting on, and it's a little rough to get over my head. So for hers, I went up a needle size just for the bind off, and it's just a regular bind off where you like knit two, pass one over kind of thing. And yeah, and the bottom has a great stretch to it. I think her neckline or her neckband is a little bit easier to get on. So those are my cloud sweaters by PetiteKnit, and these are my only works in progress right now. I do have like another thing just on the needles, but I have not been knitting on it even a little bit. Like these have been my primary focus because, like I said, her birthday is in the middle of August. She's flying in for it, and I really want to be able to definitely give her hers, but then also maybe have mine done so that we can take like pictures together in them. So that is the goal, and I'm pretty confident I can get it done. So we'll see. All right, and now getting into acquisitions. I have 2 acquisitions to share with you, and they are both from Knitting for Olive. So I think it was my last podcast episode where I shared my Tulip loop vest by Other Loops, and here she is. And I really love this and how it turned out. I even over dyed this, and I'm really happy with it. However, I was really going back and forth on the size of this. It ended up being much more fitted than I really wanted it to be. Completely my fault. Didn't gauge swatch. Didn't stop to think about it halfway through the project. So no one's fault but my own on that. But I did go ahead and buy more yarn to make another one of these. And so that yarn is Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino, and this is in the color Midnight. This is a gorgeous charcoal gray. And so the reason I got this back out is I wanted to show you the color comparison. They are super similar, but the Midnight by Knitting for Olive is certainly darker. And honestly, this is more of what I was going for the first time around. I overdyed this myself and I could have like done another round of over dyeing and just didn't. But also combined with the fact that I wanted it to be more oversized, I was like, let me just go ahead and buy the yarn for it. So I'm going to make another Tulip loop vest and then probably give this away to someone because it really is gorgeous yarn. Like the Gepard Woolia was not really fun to work with, but it's a gorgeous high quality yarn. And so I think someone in my life would be really happy to have this, and I know I am going to be really happy to have a slightly bigger version in a slightly darker gray. So I am really excited about this. Because I already have one, I'm not going to be in a huge rush to finish this. So I think once I finish both of my cloud sweaters, I'm just going to cast this on and it'll just be my like work on it when I want to work on it kind of thing. It's not going to be like a huge time crunch or anything. So that is my first acquisition. And then for my second and final acquisition, this was completely inspired by Instagram. I saw that Ozetta released a new pattern called the Clay Tee, and as soon as I saw it, I immediately fell in love. But I kind of sat on it for a minute. I'm not super into summer knitting in that it's just so hot where I live. I don't know if it's feasible to really even own summer knitted garments, but I finally caved and I did buy the yarn for this. And the yarn that I bought is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk. And this is in the color cream. Now, I wasn't sure if I really wanted the color cream. I knew for sure I wanted to try the pure silk instead of doing like the cotton merino. And I looked through all of their like white-ish colors, and this was the one I think that like really kind of fit what I was going for. Cream scares me a little bit because I never want it to come across as like too yellow, because I have a very cool skin tone, I would say. And so yellow might not be the most flattering color on me, but I really, really like this color. And I think compared to like my skin tone, it's not too yellowy. Like it's a little yellow, but it's also not like pure stark white. I wanted to avoid the stark white. So I think this is going to be really beautiful. I did make a swatch. I have not actually blocked this yet, but I hit the knit gauge pretty easily, but the row gauge, my row gauge is a lot bigger than the pattern, which has never happened to me before, so that's pretty wild. But I feel like row gauge, you can kind of get around that. It's not a huge deal. So that is this. But one fun thing I wanted to kind of share, or at least I think it's fun. I don't know about you guys, but I obsess over shades of white, or shades of cream in particular too, because it's just so hard to tell when you're shopping online. I don't have really any local yarn stores to me, and certainly none that carry Knitting for Olive, and I love Knitting for Olive. So what I thought would be fun to kind of show you is I made my swatch with the cream pure silk, and then I also have a swatch of, this was just a cotton bamboo yarn that I made my blouse number 2 out of, and this is like pure white. Like this is stark white. And so I thought it would be fun to just do a quick little show and tell of what these colors look like together. So try to get you a good view of that. And if this isn't showing up, I will certainly insert a picture. It might be better from back here, but it really is this like beautiful creamy color. And it does look pretty yellow compared to this, but it's also, like I said, it just feels more like natural, if that makes sense. Like the pure white feels like bleach, and then this just feels like, I don't know, just kind of softer. And I personally am really happy with this color choice. I really hope it looks good on me once I have actually knitted the garment. But yeah, that is it. And I just wanted to do a little quick color comparison. Anyway, that is my second acquisition. And this, like I said, is most likely going to become a Clay Tee by Ozetta. But for a second there, when I was researching patterns, I found a t-shirt by Other Loops, I believe, and it just like caught my attention. And then when I went on Ravelry and looked up pure silk, it's like the #1 pattern for this yarn. So I was really tempted by it for just a second, but I already have my blouse number 2, and that's already got the eyelid details all over it. Plus, I think I like the idea of being able to wear a summer t-shirt and not having to worry about it being see-through. Like I can just wear a bra and be done. Like I don't have to wear a tank top or anything because it's already so hot where I live. So pretty sure this is gonna become the Clay Tee by Ozetta. Okay. That is it for actual yarn acquisitions. But then I also have another acquisition that I just completely forgot to share when I got this, but that is this book by Sandnes Garn. I completely got caught up in the hype of them discontinuing this. I still don't know if that's true or not, but I immediately ordered one, and I've actually had it for several months and just forgot to share it. But I also have not made anything out of this yet. But anyway, this is the 2202 booklet by Sandnes Garn. I don't remember the actual name of this, and it doesn't say anywhere on here, but this thing is packed full of gorgeous, gorgeous patterns. And the one I have bookmarked here is the one that I am for sure going to make. And if I can squeeze it in, I would love to make it this year. And that is the Guernsey Ginzer. And so this is so iconic. You have probably seen this all over Instagram before, but it reminds me of the PetiteKnit Ingrid sweater, just without the eyelets, and I am absolutely in love with it. I am really debating making it in like a very pale pink color, but I'm not completely sold on that yet. I don't have the yarn for it, but that's the one I'm super excited about. But this booklet also has just like gorgeous basic sweaters. I'll throw some pictures up as I'm kind of flipping through this. But the most, I would say, popular one that you would recognize would be the Amy slipover in here, and I might make the Amy slipover at some point. I certainly love having this booklet and having the option to make it, but it's just not like super high on my priority list right now. They also have a couple dresses in here that I think are super, super cool, and I don't know, maybe I'll get into a knitted dress here soon, just something that's like kind of like chunky and wintry and I don't know, just fun to throw on. So that is another little acquisition that I have. Okay, those are all the knitting things that I have to share, but I also wanted to talk about a couple of sweater patterns that I am really excited about and kind of interested in knitting this year. And I don't know if I have ever explained this before, but basically what I do to determine what projects I want to knit is I'll see the pattern on Instagram or Ravelry and I'll take a screenshot of it and then I'll put it in a folder in my photos. And honestly, almost every single day I open up this folder and I just kind of look at all of the patterns that I've collected there. I know Ravelry has this function, but I like doing it in my photos. And I'll like look at it and kind of see if I still love it or if I maybe am not so interested in it anymore. And so it's just kind of a nice like collage, basically, like a way that I can quickly reference all of the things that I might be interested in. And so the first of which is I have been really wanting like a chunky cabled sweater. Specifically, I want a drop shoulder chunky cable sweater. And I know the PetiteKnit Dagmar sweater is super duper popular. That was like the number one thing on Ravelry. But to be honest, it's just not quite my style right now. And so I've been looking at kind of other things that could fit this thing that I'm looking for. And so the first sweater that I am kind of interested in is the Hanna sweater by Paula Strickt. And this one is certainly the most uniform cable knit sweater that I've found that I'm really interested in. It's got these beautiful, I think they're called like horseshoe cables that go all across the sweater mixed in with, I think this is twisted rib or something like that. And it's just super, super beautiful. Now, my only drawback with this is it's slightly more uniform than I think I really want. But still, like when I first saw this on her Instagram page, I immediately took a screenshot and I was like, this is stunning. So maybe I'll knit it at some point, but another option that I'm looking for in my like chunky cable knit sweater is the Sibilla sweater by Cookie the Knitter. Sibilla? Sorry, I'm not saying that right. By Cookie the Knitter. And it is this gorgeous, I would say like classic cable knit sweater because it's got like the one center section of cables with like little different bits, and then it's got them on the sleeves too. And the yarn that she chose this like to knit her sample is this like gorgeous white fluffy mohair. I think she does 2 strands of mohair in this, and it just really kind of is exactly what I'm looking for. But also I was looking at My Favorite Things Knitwear cabled sweaters because she's really been coming out with a lot lately. And the one that keeps drawing my eye is sweater number 20, which is super chunky, all over cables, like they're all different cables. However, I do not like that this is a V-neck sweater and she doesn't have anything similar to it that's got like a crew neck. And so I was searching on Instagram, searching on Ravelry, I was like, certainly someone has made a crew neck version of this, and they did. And so I found this gorgeous one by, the Instagram page is Hanna Knittin, and I'll throw a screenshot up, but whatever she did with this is just so stunning, and this might be exactly what I'm looking for. So it's a little intimidating to try and modify like a cable knit sweater to have a different neckline, but I might get crazy, I might do it. all that to say, I'm just super interested in the idea of making a big chunky cable sweater before the end of this year. So the other thing, the last sweater that I want to talk about is so cool. The sweater's not even finished. I don't even know what it's going to look like as of today, but Len Home Samso, Knit, posted this picture of her Rosie sweater like yesterday or the day before from when I'm filming this, and I saw this and gasped. I was like, this is stunning. This is exactly what I want. I need one right now. And so it's this beautiful contiguous shoulder sweater that's got a rose colorwork motif going across the chest up here. I have no idea what the bottom of the sweater is going to look like. That might be the only colorwork motif. It might go across the whole sweater like her porcelain sweater does. Whatever it is, I am interested. I am in it. And she said the pattern is going to be released at the end of August. And I think I'm going to buy yarn and maybe cast on this sweater like the second she releases it, because like I am that excited about it. And who knows, I took a screenshot, I put it in my knitting folder. Maybe by the time she actually releases it and I see more photos of the sweater, I might lose interest. But as of today, I am absolutely obsessed with this. I would do it in the same exact colors as her sample, with like the white and the kind of maroon for the contrast color. And I think it's just so, so beautiful. But that is it. I just wanted to share those patterns that I'm super excited about. I would love to hear if you have like a chunky cable recommendation. I kind of looked casually. I haven't looked that super in depth, but I would always love to hear, especially something that's a little less mainstream that I might have missed. So if you have any recommendations, I would love to hear it. And yeah, I think that's all I have to share for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Of course, please let me know if you've been knitting on anything similar or any of these yarns, or just whatever you're excited to be knitting on right now. So I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.